6 o'clock, let's call this meeting to order. Jackie, do we have anybody signed up to, okay. All right, it's now 6 o'clock. We'll open this meeting up for public hearing to receive comments from the residents concerning the application for conditional use permit to allow window tinting business to locate at 910 South Arroyo Boulevard, Suite E1, zoned heavy commercial. Anyone? All right, that hearing item is closed. Number 2, consider an action to approve the rezoning of Sierra Holiday Park, RV Park, from R3 multifamily district to MH manufactured housing district. Anybody want to talk on that? That item's closed. Item number 3, public hearing to receive comments from the residents concerning a variance request on sidewalk requirements for Encino Crossing subdivision. Nobody else wants to speak about that? Okay, public hearing is closed at 6:01. Action item number 1, consider an action to approve application for conditional use permit to allow window tinting business to locate at 910 South Arroyo Boulevard, Suite E1, zoned heavy commercial district. Mark.
It's kind of part of the same process we've done on that area to the south on 1847. Fits in with what's there. It's not a heavy commercial, but there's nothing much in their heavy commercial, so we agree with that request. It'll fit right in with everything else.
Okay, questions?
So just to confirm, that is where, what is currently known as the lab, right? Where all the red buildings are at?
Yes.
Any other questions? We have a motion.
Make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Item number 2, public hearing to receive comments from the property owners concerning the zoning of Sierra Holiday RV Park from R3 multifamily district to MH manufactured housing district.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, just to kind of tell you where that came from, some of you might have been on the board about 5 to 7 years ago, I can't remember exactly when. The prior owners were Holiday Out, and they came because they were looking at changing the RV park to an apartment complex, and they were submitted some grants to do that. In order to do that, we had to change it to multifamily to fit what it would be. What we should have done is said we would change it contingent upon that grant being accepted and the apartments being built. Well, the grant was denied, so it stayed RV park and subsequently was sold a year or so ago to Sierra Holiday RV Park. So we really need to go back and put it to what it has always been, and so that's kind of long story to how it happened. Make sense? So we request that approval.
So, Mr. Chair, I'll make the motion to approve line action number 2 as written.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Item number 3, consider an action to approve variance request on sidewalk requirements for Encino Crossing subdivision.
And let him go first. Go ahead. It's the subdivision across the street, in case you weren't aware and didn't get the layout, so that's what we're talking about.
My name's Steve, I'm executive. Okay. Is this all right? My name's Steve Gano. I'm Executive Vice President of Encino Homes and also General Counsel. And we're developing the subdivision right across the street over here. We've been working on it for, seems like over a year now with weather delays and COVID and so forth. But for the last 5 or 6 months, we've finally gotten underway with our construction. And you can probably see as you drive by, we have 25 duplexes under construction and 3 houses under construction, and we have permits pending for more. Our subdivision is a little different than others, is that we're developing this subdivision for our own use, and we're not selling lots to anyone else, not to individuals. We're not selling them to other builders. We're retaining them, and we're building the duplexes, which are the yellow lots here, and we'll be retaining ownership and operating them as rental properties. The blue lots, residential lots, our home building division will be building houses there, and we will be selling completed houses. Because we did the subdivision ourselves, we need to get our final plat approved. And we have done everything, and we've done everything on Mark's checklist at this point, with the exception of putting in the sidewalks. And what apparently the ordinance says you have to do is put in all the sidewalks right now before anything is built in the subdivision. And what we are asking is that as we build each structure, we put that section of sidewalk in. And I understand Mark had advised me when I talked to him before about this, that they've had some problems in the past with subdivisions where individual lots might be sold off, and then nobody would build a house and nobody would put in the improvements. This situation is completely different from that, in that we own all the lots. We're not selling any lots, and if you've read my letter in the packet, you'll see that we're willing to guarantee to the city that we'll put in all the sidewalks. We're asking that we have 18 months to put in all the sidewalks on the duplex lots. We'll probably beat that because there's only 38 duplex lots and we already have 25 under construction. So when those 25 are completed within the next 4 months, all those sidewalks are going in. And we'll probably get the rest done with another 10 months after that. On the houses, we have 3 going up. I think we have 3 more in for permit right now. And we'll be building those hopefully as quickly as we're putting the duplexes up. And the city, if we don't put in the sidewalks with each of these properties that we construct, the city simply can deny our CO. They'll do a final inspection. We have to pass all the inspections, and if the sidewalks aren't in, they just don't give us the CO on that property. And so we believe that we will get a better finished product for the consumer by not putting them all in at this point in time. But when we pour the driveways and the private sidewalks from the doors out to the front, that we pour that sidewalk across that lot at that time. We'll get a better match on the grades and everything else. So that's why we're here, to ask you to let us use that approach for putting the sidewalks in. Thank you. Any questions I can answer?
Anyone else?
Couple of comments, if some of you are around, there's two developments that I can recall. One of them is Village East, and the other one is Windcrest, that they were given variances on putting the sidewalks in until later, and we're now over 10 years on, way over 10 years on both of them, and we don't have completed sidewalks. And so that's why the ordinance was changed by the planning and zoning and then confirmed by the city council, is because of the calls that we get from residents that they want to walk on their sidewalks instead of the street, and they have to go to X lot that is not built for whatever reason. They have to either walk on the grass or get back on the street. And I understand what the developer is saying, that they control the lots. They are going to sell those lots at some point with a house, but there effectively could be a lot of residents there over the next, before the next 3 years is up, where they can't walk safely in the community. And so that's why it was changed. There was no mechanism to hold folks that have a lot that they might live in Florida and just have a lot for investment, and they have no intention of selling it for a while. And so we have no way to get that sidewalk put in, and so it's just an indefinite period of time. They're guaranteeing 36 months, but between now and then, we'll get calls because, hey, why aren't these sidewalks there? We will also have to deal with, at the end of 36 months, I'm not saying that they would be not compliant in that, but that's just another thing that we have to deal with over the next 3 years that we wouldn't have to deal with if they're done now. As far as grade, there's certain way they put them in from the curb already. So when the other developers that are doing business back over here, Valle Alto Phase 4, 5, and 6 have put in sidewalks. Ville del Sur had put in sidewalks. And the original complaint with everyone was we have to break part of that to put in a drive and don't know where that's going to be. Well, you do know where that is because you give the full set of plans for the home on that lot to us for the permitting process. So before you get a permit, you know exactly where that garage is going to be and where that driveway is going to be. So that can then be cut or just run over, broken up if they wanted to, because you know exactly where that's going to be. So it really hasn't been a problem that some have thought it would be, putting the driveway in later, but yet it gives a full place to walk in the meantime. So that's why the ordinance was changed, and why we feel like that we should stick with the original ordinance.
Briefly respond. I understand what Mark's saying, and I acknowledge that it's not impossible to saw cut out, demolish, haul off the concrete of the existing sidewalk and put in another. It's usually not, if you're going to do that, not just the area occupied by the driveway, but you have to go to some extent on either side. And if there's more of a differential in grade on the lot, you have to go further to the side to get the slopes that you need to tie into a pre-existing sidewalk. It can be done, but it's economically wasteful. And in this setting, we can guarantee that we're going to put those in because we're going to put them in on every house we build. And we're not going to be spending $15, $18 million right across the street and not do that subdivision right. So again, we reassure you that with every house that goes in, that sidewalk will be in on that lot before we request a CO. And we think that's a better approach for this subdivision, since we own it and we can guarantee that they'll be in. Thank you.
Anyone else wish to comment or have any questions?
I have a question. On that, I keep hearing you say several times that you guarantee it. What is there in writing to guarantee that?
Well, I've expressed it in a letter, but I can also prepare and have Mark or city attorney review some kind of guarantee from us, a more formal document than that. Are there any other questions I can answer?
Yeah, I have,
So at the end, when your project is done, the city has to go in there and clear, right?
No. When it's done, every lot will have a house on it, and hopefully they'll all be sold. People will be living in them.
And he's saying within no later than 36 months.
Yeah.
In other words, don't let me put words in your mouth, but let's say that out of the duplexes, probably, because of the demand, probably all 38 will be done, but maybe not all 58 homes. So maybe 40 homes are done. At the end of that 36 months, you're guaranteeing that you'll go ahead and put the
Correct.
remaining
Yes.
18.
Yes, we think the duplexes will be done very quickly. That's why we only asked an 18-month time limit on them, because,
My question is, like, after each home is complete, does the city have to go in there?
and give the okay that it's good to go? Well,
Yes.
wouldn't that also be part of the inspection, that the sidewalk be built also?
yes, it certainly would. The city can simply decline to give us the certificate of occupancy, and so we can't sell it and no one can move in.
So that would put the pressure back onto the city to say, hey, you need the sidewalk before we give you the CO.
Well, it's not so much pressure, the pressure is on us to comply with the city. Every time we finish a house and we want to sell it, we have to get a CO, and they inspect heating and air conditioning, they inspect, they've inspected the construction, the masonry, the foundation, plumbing, electrical, all along. And then they do a final inspection where they just basically look at everything one last time. And for that final inspection, one of the things they're looking at is the lot, and they would see no sidewalk, so no CO. It's
Yeah.
not a big
That's what
burden.
I'm saying,
Yeah.
I want to be fair, even though I recommend no, I want to be fair to them. It's not an extra step really that inspector does on the CO. When he issues a CO, he says everything's done. Even if the sidewalk put in now, like we request, part of his job is to be sure that sidewalk hasn't been damaged in construction. So he's looking at it anyway. So that kind of is more favorable to him, but I want to be honest and open that it's not an extra step for that inspector, because his job is to inspect it and give that CO that during that, let's say that they put them all in today. Still, whenever they do that final inspection, that CO, if this part of the sidewalk has been damaged during construction, he's not going to give that CO until they fix it. So that part of it, whether it's before or after, is still going to exist. Does that make sense? Because I'm thinking you were saying that there's an extra step for the city. There's not. It's
I'm just saying that.
part of the process.
When they go in and inspect, it's missing the sidewalk, well, I can't give you this.
Correct.
Yes,
not
and
there.
of course, we would know that. And, when we build a house, as soon as we can get it finished, we want to sell it. The houses, we're keeping the duplexes, but the houses we want to sell. So we're going to be trying our best to comply and get the CO as soon as we are complete. And, we have our own sort of internal checklist where we go through everything before we request they come for the final inspection. And, that would be a big item on our checklist. Are there any other questions that I can answer?
But it still leaves an uncompleted sidewalk for a citizen to walk down.
You'll have to, if there's a lot and then you build a house and you put the sidewalk on that house, there's a gap in between the sidewalks.
There could be. Generally speaking, if you look at our duplexes, we're building from front to back, and they're pretty much, all in a row. So on those, I think probably that's not going to occur. But on the houses, yes, because someone could say, well, I want the one 5 lots over because it's 2 feet bigger or something, And so, yes, there could be a period of time where that's the case. All right, thank y'all again.
Do we have a motion?
Make a motion not to approve the variance?
I'll go with it.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Item number 4, consider an action to approve the minutes from the January 16th, 2023 meeting.
Mr. Chair, I'll make that motion to approve action item number 5 as written.
That's 4, right? Second?
Action item number 4. Got ahead of myself. Sorry.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. This meeting is adjourned.